I know, we all are. Don't worry, we've got you covered, because it's time once again for Live at Night with Pete Ferrero, where whatever happens, happens. Here's your host, Pete Ferrero.
They must be like the life of the party.
Okay.
There's no background, so you have to.
Okay.
When's the last time we did one of these?
It's been a minute since we did one of these. We are live at night. I haven't even said that phrase in so long. But we are here. Mike is sort of live at night. I don't know what's happening there. Just an image of Mike.
I feel like I'm on, but yeah, I mean you can hear me, right?
We can't hear.
When you click on, you have some graphic that just comes up, not your face.
Mike, that's it. Mike is out of that's it. He's done. Oh, and now Tracy's gone. What's happening?
I'm here. I'm just playing with the dials.
All right. All right. Stop playing with the dials. I can never. That's what Tracy does. She just plays with the dials. All right. Hey, so this is the first time that we've been live at night in some time, but I love getting this crew together. Because we always talk about music, and today we're going to be talking about Christmas music, in particular. So I usually let everybody introduce themselves, but I'm gonna just stand in the way of that. Tim Hillman, former member of a band, but I was not in a band with him. He's from Ridgewood, and he runs a wedding video company. Tim, how are you? How's everything been going in lockdown? We used to say that all the time, but we're not saying that much anymore.
Yeah, I feel like we've forgotten that we're in lockdown. I know you're in more lockdown than we are really in California, but we're still in like lockdown light, I think.
Right, lockdown light. I like that. Yeah. And then, Tracy, I'm going to introduce you to Chris. I feel like I'm introducing everybody to you. Is what's happening.
That's a nice way to do it.
Yeah. Chris D'Amico, of course, is a wedding DJ, but also what Chris does that's awesome is he actually is a live performer as well. So, and he plays piano and he sings and all of that stuff. So he gives a little bit more than just the average, say, wedding DJ thing. Is that a good way to introduce you?
Yeah,
Chris?
no, that's a great way. What we do is a true hybrid. The foundation of the show is DJ, but we infuse, live music into it too by using tracks and real instruments.
And then the other person with us here is Mike Walter, or Michael Walter, as he's going by on this thing, and he's not. Yeah, Mike Walters as he goes. Yeah,
I can't figure out how to connect video. Sorry, guys.
Well, hang on. There's a button that says on the bottom, Cam and Mike. Do you see this? This happens on none of the other shows, but this show we work tech talk too. We do tech talk too. Yeah. Do you see this, Cam, Mike?
Yeah. When I start Cam, then it's just this box.
And we get like a Star Trek.
Wait, hold up, Tracy.
design.
You just did this.
Yeah, I did it.
So what is the button that you see? There's Tracy.
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
So what's the button that you're pressing?
I have two options. It says start Cam, that's this, and then stop Cam is this. I don't know.
Okay, Mike, this is what I think you should do. You gotta come out of the Leave studio.
Okay.
Exit out of the whole Chrome, and then come back into it, and maybe it will ask you for permission, allow or deny. Right.
We're doing clean break.
Clean break. That's right. And then Mike would love this. So before I'll wait for him to come on, but I'll just introduce. And Tracy, like I told Chris before he came on, was my ex-girlfriend in high school, and she's a good friend all these years later. So I think so. Anyway, we are friends. Yes.
Definitely. I'm proud of us. I mean, we didn't end badly. Pete, it was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it was an intense 2 weeks.
No, it was like being in the Big Brother house is what I've equated to. And also, I've now given us a couple of more weeks. I've given us a couple of more weeks because I feel like there was a whole build up before the asking.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Pete and I were in a musical together.
That's right.
High school musical called Sound of Music.
That's where it all went down. Yeah.
What did you two play in this musical?
A lot with each other. This is
Excuse you?
That's the truth.
Yeah, that really is what I remember about The Sound of Music. I can't just really start it this way. This is why you don't have Tracy on the show. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Okay. Mark Nella says the hills are alive with The Sound of Music. That's right.
Hi, Mark. I'm glad you're tuning in.
Have no memory of what I played in The Sound of Music.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Are you a Von Trapp?
I was
Pete was the most ironic character in the entire.
Pete, can you stand up and sing like "So Long, Farewell"?
No, I didn't really do that.
Roll the video. Roll the video.
Poor Mike is still having a problem here.
You know what? I don't look that good tonight anyway, so just have me on with audio.
Oh man, you got your logo now.
Yeah, you're close, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I have no idea. I can only imagine that it has something to do with that cam mic feature. When you click on that button and you go to cam mic, what does the camera option say?
You're talking about the button within StreamYard?
Correct. Yeah.
Cam mic. Audio.
Yes, yes.
I was a Nazi. I was a Nazi in Sound of Music, a background actor. Yes, thank you. I deleted all of those photos. What an awkward musical. God, nothing we listen to. One of the songs we're going to talk about, I'm sure, tonight is one that's a very controversial song.
Hey, there's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
There he is. Yes.
Thank you.
What did you do? How'd you get in?
I'm liking it now.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Hey,
I got
the Jersey wedding look is in effect.
Yeah, you can have that all month, right?
I was just introducing everybody, and Mike, I don't know if you heard, but Tracy was my ex-girlfriend in high school. So,
and you guys are still together.
We're still Facebook friends.
Peter, I don't know if you remember, Kelly's ring bearer at our wedding was her first boyfriend from high school.
Oh, that's lovely how things like that played out. Yeah,
sometimes friendships last.
I did protest the breakup very strongly at the end of it, from what I remember.
You dumped him, Tracy?
Oh yeah, that was
hard.
It was ugly.
I did. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good now.
And was it social media that brought you back together, or did you stay in touch all these years?
We've kind of stayed in touch all these years.
Nice.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
There was a moment there was like a friend request at one point, and I forget which one of us friend requested, but it was a bit shocking that it had happened. Yes.
And is your wife cool with this, Peter?
Yeah. She's totally. Yeah.
That shows me confidence in your relationship. Good for you.
Yeah. She's totally. It's all good in the hood here. Thank you for asking that, Mike. And I know that
that's a kind question, Mike.
She would really appreciate the fact that you asked that.
Yeah.
That's where they left.
And you know what? I asked that because Kelly told me that, like, on date 2, she's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm still good friends with Glenn, my first boyfriend. You have to be cool with this before we get any further in my relationship." And I was like, "Okay, I'm cool with it." So
I would have been like, "I'm out."
And look what I would have missed out on.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just teasing. Okay, and Mike is a wedding DJ. He does not play an instrument like Chris does, right? He's
I do not. I can't even figure out how to turn my camera on. So you know I don't play an instrument. No.
Right. We covered that in one of these previous episodes where Mike was upset, I think, that he couldn't play an instrument.
I'm upset that I can't play or sing.
Yes.
Can't do anything.
All right. So the reason why we're all here at AA is to talk about that, and that's not funny. I'm sorry. I don't know what's funny anymore. I don't know if I can make that joke.
You are canceled.
Before I was even. Hey, okay. So this week we're talking about Christmas songs. That was the theory. And what caused this was that, as per usual, Tracy and I got into a back and forth on because she loves and loved to just call me out on things that I say publicly, and I had made the comment.
These are some deep memories, my dear. Let's go. Let's get in there.
I'm glad
Listen, Tim, do you feel like third wheel right now? I feel like the three of us should just vamoose.
We probably should have. Met somewhere prior to this and gotten all of this.
No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
We'll just
He's holding the conch now, okay? You talk in a group.
Okay, so
Someone needs a hug.
well, I got into it, and what I said was I made a comment because I posted, "Hey, if you had to pick," and I love Tracy called me out right away on why do we have to pick, which is like I agree with that. But if you had to pick between the John Lennon Christmas song or the Paul McCartney Christmas song, which song would be your go-to during the holidays? And I said, shockingly, and this is probably the only time I feel this way about a McCartney versus Lennon song, I said McCartney because it just feels very Christmassy. And Lennon's to me feels a little bit more protesty. And I just, like you got to be in the mood for a good protest. And sometimes at holidays, I just want some eggnog and some, mistletoe.
I, on the other hand, am always.
The theme tonight is what? 2 and 2?
2 and 2. But let's debate this thing first, and then we'll do our 2 and 2.
Okay.
Tracy, I would like to give you the floor here to comment on what you said in response to my comment about John Lennon.
I perhaps am always in the mood for a good protest, which could be half the reason this is happening. We think let's like broaden out the context a little bit, right? Paul and John, and think about what music they've brought into the world as solo artists. I can never choose Paul over John, no matter what the situation is. Paul for me is just a little too light, 3 chords and a catchy hook, whereas John, there's meat in what he and George have brought into this world musically, and I feel the same way about this Christmas dichotomy.
You were very strong in your opinion about that. Now, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Well, the only thing I would disagree with what you said, Tracy, was what you said previously. Why do we have to choose? I think having to choose between those 2 songs tells you everything you want to know
about a person.
Because there couldn't be further on the spectrum of Christmas music. Paul McCartney's there's no substance. It's sugary. It's sweet. It's typical Paul McCartney. And John Lennon, it's in your face. It's what have you done, which I mean, is one of the great lines of all Christmas songs. So this is Christmas. What have you done? And yeah, I think you have to choose. And in choosing, it tells me a lot about what you are and what you like musically. And that's why you shocked me, Peter. Because I thought you had more substance.
Well, they're 2 extremes. They're 2 extremes. I feel like there's definitely some ones that are in the middle, but those are the most 2 extremes you can go.
I would argue that every other Christmas song is somewhere in the middle of those 2 songs.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Tim and Chris D'Amico about where they lie. I really hope someone hot tags me here and says, I'm with you on the McCartney thing. All right, Tim, where do you land?
I'm landing on the Lennon side here. I like a good little substance, little like, because it's I don't know, it's a little more interesting that way. Because listen, I think all of I'm sure we'll go into some of these later, but a lot of like the Christmas classics all kind of came out in one big push in like the 40s and 50s and whatnot. And I feel like have a little twist and be like, it's more interesting to me.
Okay, all right. I'm the biggest there. Chris D'Amico, what is your take on this?
Oh boy. All right. Thank you for saving me for last on this. Now, I do like a lot of Paul McCartney stuff, a lot of the solo stuff that he did after the Beatles. However, in this particular case, it was just like he stumbled upon the mini moog that night and had a few too many eggnogs creating that song. It was like Pew, 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 pew. This was fun. A little bit more to the point where he screws up in the middle of singing. Party's on. Oh, that's enough.
Yeah, that's right.
If you listen to it, it just sounds like, hey, let's throw up a couple of tracks and screw around with the synthesizer and have a few eggnogs and throw out a Christmas song.
I wish I did a good McCartney. Yeah.
However, on the John Lennon side of this thing, I would have loved Happy Christmas had it had just been the kids singing the refrain and not Lovely Yoko. Because it's just like, Merry Christmas! Out of like left field, and you're like, oh God. Because John's voice with that guitar and that wall, almost like a wall of sound, sounds so warm.
Yeah, totally.
So nice. And then out of left field, like, for the love of God, you just sang the chorus, please, and that's why I said I'm going to save me for last, because you know what? It's just such a nice song until that refrain hits. And
I think this is my issue. She is too loud in the mix.
Exactly.
On the chorus.
It's a remastering issue, you're saying. You're saying if they
no, I don't think it's a remastering issue. I'm sure John said, turn her up. You know what I mean? Because, he wanted to hear Yoko. They probably couldn't hear her. It was a whole...
No. What happened was this. He goes, it sounds good. And look, Yoko went... yeah, but maybe you should put her up a little bit more. Probably would.
But so I think that's my issue too with the song is there's that once that moment happens, and also John's voice, and this is a problem that I have with here we go with John's voice sometimes in things like Lucy in the Sky and with Diamonds, where it's like this high pitched John Lennon voice that I don't buy. I don't believe it. I don't believe that he's singing like that. And I know that they recorded their tracks at times. And Mike Walter has this incredible book, by the way, on this date in music. Yeah, which
I have to shoehorn it in this time. Thank you.
Do you want a free copy now that I'm on the show with you? Whoa! Wow!
Yeah. So
Tim, where's your copy?
Tim is still ordering it on Amazon. He's trying to figure out.
So we gotta
here.
There you go, Chris.
He's deciding between the autograph copy and the Tim and the Amazon copy. So he's been conflicted about it for a long time.
It's almost as good as this autograph copy of David Byrne's How Music Works. I have to say, the cover's really nice. I like it, Michael.
Because I'm all about ads these days, here's this.
Do you have some music lovers on your gift list this holiday season? Are you stuck about what to get them? You've done the piano tie in the past, but you never see them wearing it. You gave them those bargain basement headphones, but you never see them using them. And last year, you splurged on Michael Bolton tickets, but you're pretty sure they didn't go. Well, this year, give those music lovers a gift they'll treasure. A brand new book called On This Date in Music. On This Date in Music is chock full of great stories and behind-the-scenes tales of bands and artists that they love. There's a great entry for every day of the year, which means your music lovers will think of you all year long as they expand their knowledge and appreciation for the world of music. And when they see you next year at the holidays, you'll get the biggest hug and kiss from them because they'll have loved On This Date in Music so much, they'll have forgotten all about that piano tie. On This Date in Music is available on Amazon, or for an autographed copy, head to onthisdateinmusic.com.
Well, there you have it, Mike. I
gotta go, guys. Thank you very much.
I still love the Kelly cameo in that.
This is the only way we get Mike to do these things.
You promised me a 60-second ad, then I come on. That's it.
Right. No, hey, Mike, I did play that during one of the 90210 shows, and that went over very good.
That explains the 800 copies I sold.
We go zero, huh? On that since the 90210 thing. Hey, but I tell everybody about it. It's a really awesome.
And Tracy, if you want to send me your address, I'd be happy. As an ex-girlfriend of Peter's, I'd be happy to send you.
Oh, God.
And also a fellow John Lennon lover, because I agree with you.
Right on.
Okay, so, but do you agree that John Lennon's pitch at times in certain songs is not that there's an I'm going to say there's an issue?
You asking me or?
I'm asking you, Mike. Yeah,
I think John Lennon is very similar to Bruce Springsteen. He's not a great singer, but he sings with passion, especially his own songs that makes up for any flaws. I would rather, I said at the top, I can't sing. If you gave me a choice, I'd rather have John Lennon's passion and voice than Paul McCartney's or somebody else's. I don't care that Lennon was a flawed singer because he makes up for it in passion.
And I agree with you on that. Just particularly in this song, I feel like going to Chris's point about Yoko and just the way all of that sounds. It just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, you know what? I'll make a broader artistic argument for that, and I'm not saying that this was their point. This Christmas song is not supposed to make you feel good. Most Christmas songs are supposed to make you feel good. John Lennon was challenging the listener to get off their ass and do something. And maybe by boosting Yoko a little in the mix, he was saying, yeah, you know, this isn't pleasant. This is a tough time. And what better time for us now as we struggle to get through this pandemic, and that song is, you know, what have you done? Have you worn your mask all year? Have you social distanced all year? Are you going to get the vaccine when it's available? What have you done to help?
Yeah, I mean, all right, okay, fair enough.
I know you're going to get negative comments if I did.
No, once we did one of these with Mike, and somebody went ape shit on him.
I told the story of Sinead O'Connor tearing up the picture.
Tearing the Pope.
And I made the point that in the long run, she did have a point. And oh my God, the guy.
Poor Anthony was offended by that. Yes.
Yeah, very offended. So
sorry, Anthony.
Sorry we lost one listener there.
Well, the Yoko thing is actually to your point, though, Mike. The Yoko thing is the uplift of that thing. So have a very Merry Christmas.
Right, but it's not. You could make an argument that her voice is fingernails on the chalkboard. You could make that argument, and I think that Lennon was saying, "Yeah, it was. Deal with it." This is.
It's a great point too, Mike. Too, because speaking about the song, they took out billboards and they put it up all over New York City and whatnot. So it was a movement. It was about something.
Right.
In retrospect, on my opinion, and when Tracy, you know, as usual, makes a point, I do see the other side of that point, and I was like, maybe I was a little bit too quick on this McCartney opinion. I gotta bring these down.
No, Peter, I think that that's an example of the way we consume music. Pop music is often the first thing you like.
Mm-hmm.
Music that's a little bit more challenging often takes multiple listens. So on the first instinct, I can see why you'd go, oh yeah, Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Song. That's a nicer song. But after you really think about it and dig deep, you go, yeah, but the Lennon song is true art. It's not this disposable piece of pop crap.
Right. I mean, and I don't mean to get into a whole tangent here, but Mike and I have become, this is not about Christmas music, but we have become very big fans of Taylor Swift. And it's particularly...
I was just going to bring up her new album. Go ahead, Pete.
It's particularly about the last two albums. And I will argue that the album even before that, Lover, was a step in this direction. And for me, I cannot stop listening to Folklore and now Evermore.
Dude, the song Betty, it ruins my day. Like I hear that song and it can I say the F word?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It fucks with my mind. Like I want to know what she did to Betty, but I also love the fact that she never says what she did to Betty because it leaves every interpretation open. How do you want, Betty, what's the line? The worst thing that I ever did was what I did to you. What the fuck did you do to her? Like, I love that. I was driving my mom. I picked my mom home yesterday, and I was driving, Mom, this is my latest obsession. And I played it from my mother in the car because I just think that song rips my guts out.
There's so many on those two. Tracy, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song on the last two records?
Well, I'm still working with it, actually. Mike, what you just said about like difficult music takes a number of listens. So my sister, Becky, who is obsessed with Taylor Swift, her children are also obsessed with Taylor Swift. I'd never really listened before. And she sent me Folklore this summer and it was a revelation. I was like, oh, Taylor Swift, come on, more Katy Perry. Okay, roar. No. That's not what it was at all. It blew my mind. I couldn't stop listening.
Peter, if Peter, you hadn't recommended it, and if I didn't respect your musical opinion, I wouldn't have downloaded
I
it.
wouldn't even go there, right?
And when we got off the last podcast or the podcast before, whenever it was, I was like, wow, if Peter likes it, maybe I should give it a listen. But if it had been somebody whose opinion of music I think less of, I probably would never have listened to it. And by the way, my opinion of you has changed though after
I was really riding pretty high.
Yeah, you were.
The thing about that Betty song was she put herself in the mind of like a 16, 17-year-old boy.
Right.
And like in just the typical stuff that a 17-year-old boy would do. He it sounds from listening to me that he just kind of like was a fickle 17-year-old boy who moved on to the next thing and then realized that he gave away the best thing by moving on to the next thing.
And that's actually what Tracy did in our
segue.
I'm totally kidding. That's why the album is
works, folks.
Segue to Mad. There's nothing like a mad woman. Nothing like a mad woman.
Breakthroughs happen.
I'm just kidding.
To answer my favorite song, I have to say that the collaboration with Bon Iver is my favorite from Folklore by far. Even though I don't think you can pick a favorite off of that album. Every single song is incredible and just brings it. And then I'm not yet ready to pick a favorite on Evermore.
Is it too early to compare the two as one better than the other, or are they both their own entities, or what?
That's a great question, and this is what I love about Live at Night, because people just ask questions out of the blue, and I love whatever happens. So I'm open to that, Tracy, as you know.
So far to me, Tim, it's a double album. Like I'm listening to it as a double album.
Yeah,
that's a great approach. Yeah.
Do you think it was originally supposed to be a double album, but they figured they'd spread them out, or does it feel like
very methodical? She knows every step of what she's doing. She's a very smart artist. I've said that she is. Everybody, calm down. She is the Bob Dylan of this generation. She is.
Wait, she can sing.
No, but I mean, she is this.
Well, Tracy's making the point that she's better than Bob Dylan.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, I was going to say the Joni Mitchell, the Bob Dylan. I was just about to go into a whole.
We can go Joni Mitchell.
Yeah,
I think Bob Dylan falls into the category Mike was just talking about.
She is the John Lennon of this generation.
I need to see a few more albums from her.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. I'm with you on this. She's right now. She's Paul McCartney.
I think the pandemic has brought out the best if you're an artist. If you're doing it right. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be stuck, if you're good at what you do, you're going to be better at what you do. Listen, I did not know how to. I have a studio, as you can see behind me. I mean, this isn't the studio that I normally work in when I'm working, for my company. But, I have all the equipment here, Logic and speakers and all these other things around me. And this pandemic has made me a better engineer. And I've recorded and written and done so many things that I've never been able to do before because of it. So since she's locked in, she's a great songwriter. She was a great songwriter before these two albums. Take the poppiness out of it. You just hear some of her early stuff. It's just acoustic guitar and her. They're good songs. Okay?
Yes.
So now you become better. If you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, you get better and better and better at your craft. And hopefully you do. She's finally found her stride. She's hit her stride, and now she's, I guess, being produced, by some great people who go, all right, I got you down now, and have put around her some players that can really enhance the song, as opposed to we're just trying to make a few bucks being a pop record now. You're not going to be the pop queen. You've already established yourself. What next? And this is what we're starting to see from her. The pandemic has allowed her to sit and write.
Yes.
It's brought out a lot of people, brought out a lot of artistry. People who look, even in Facebook posts from people have become more introspective because of this. They didn't know some of the inner demons or inner lockings of themselves. And if you're an artist, I could certainly tell you, man, it's really, if you're doing it right, pandemic, you're doing it right. If you're really enhancing what you're good at and getting better and better at your craft. I mean, Pete, look what you did during this thing.
Yeah.
With the video and stuff. You created something in this 9 months, you know?
Yeah. Thank you for that, for acknowledging that. Tracy, you don't know this, but these guys are not, we all talk every week. There's some information you should know about Chris, and there's some information that you should know about Mike. Mike sadly lost his father to COVID during this thing, and I know this must be a tough time of year for you, going through all that. And Chris lost his son a few years back in a horrific incident. I'll let you talk about that, Chris, but talking about the pandemic, and I know we're supposed to talk about Christmas music, so we'll go jolly after this, but it's important for you to know where everybody's coming from in situation. For Chris, I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about your son and what you did with that tragedy?
My son passed away in a boating accident on June 24th, 2015. We started a movement called Kindness for Christopher. It is a global movement. Basically, it is nothing to do with money. It's not about charity. It's about, since he died the 24th of June, every time the 24th comes, we get very, somber around here. But instead of being somber, we want everybody to do one random act of kindness on the 24th in my son's name, because he was a very kind kid. From that, people have done things around the world for one another and have posted on my page on Facebook, the Kindness for Christopher D, on Facebook, and it's just kept a community of kindness alive. And the ripple effect is something that I teach in the schools and stuff like that, and to some DJs and stuff like that, about how what you do, even though you feel as though is it might be very small, you might have a huge impact on somebody else's life. Even in your darkest moment, you might be bringing somebody else into the light. I mean, look, we're sitting here and being very light. Somebody might be watching this right now, and it ignites something in them to do something. So everything that
Hopefully.
you do has purpose. So that's what we've been.
Yeah, and Mike, how is this time?
Well, listen, Thanksgiving was an emotional day. First, major holiday without Dad. But I got to spend it with my mom, as I'm doing this weekend. Like I said, I drove into Queens yesterday to pick up Mom. I'm blessed with the fact that I had a great relationship with my dad. So I have a lifetime of wonderful memories to tap into. I have no regrets. I wish my dad had lived longer, but it's not like I sit there and go, I wish my dad and I had done fill in the blank, because whatever we wished we did, we went on an epic baseball trip together years ago. We used to go to Met games all the time. Like anything we ever wanted to do together, we vacationed together, we did it. So I'll always miss him, but I also have a lifetime of great memories. And he would agree with me that you're way off on the Paul McCartney, John Lennon.
He would be happy what's going on with the Mets, though. We have a new one.
I have a great memory. I took you ever hear the band Rain? It's a Beatles cover band.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I took my dad to see them a number of years ago, and I couldn't get two seats back to back, but I was able to get two seats, one in front of each other. So I bought the two seats. My dad basically sat directly in front of me. And for the encore, they came out and did a solo song by each artist, and they ended with Give Peace a Chance. And so now everybody's standing up in the arena, Give Peace a Chance. And my dad, who at that point was like a 75-year-old hippie, with his peace signs up, swaying back and forth. And I got to see that image because I was behind him. And if I had been next to him, I probably wouldn't have gotten that. So I'm so grateful that I only got to sit behind him, because I'll never forget seeing my pop.
That's so cool.
We are saying. So great memory. Another great memory.
Yeah, I just thought you need to know all of that. Okay, let's talk some Christmas tunes and gear this into some other things. Do we want to talk about the ones we can't stand first? I think that's always a good place.
Yeah, let's get the shitty ones out of the way.
Yeah.
We end on the good note.
I'm going to say the one that got all the controversy, Baby It's Cold Outside. I'm going to obviously
We're going to go there.
I mean, I never liked that song to begin with. I didn't love I don't actually love it's sort of annoying to me that two people are talking through song. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. Somebody take control of the conversation. You know what I mean? I don't need to hear this other voice talking in my ear when I'm just trying to enjoy the fucking holiday. So it always annoyed me, just generally speaking.
Did you always think there was something creepy about it, or did it take the Me Too movement kind of thing to put that into your?
Always said to myself, something is wrong with the order of events that are happening in this night. I said, there's something that's not right here and doesn't feel right. It always registered to me as something is incorrect in this evening. But I didn't go that far into it that there was, some sort of sex scandal. And
I'm pretty proud of the fact, and I just shared this on Facebook about 7 or 8 years ago on Facebook. I wrote, if you listen to it closely, it's a date rape song. And I actually shared that again. And a lot of people disagreed. They're like, no, don't look into it. But I think the line about what's this in my drink is very Bill Cosby-ish.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And apparently back in the 50s when that song was written, that shit was okay. Apparently that stuff was
one of the ways you hooked
That
up
was cute back in the day.
It was cute. You just put a little pill and then that's the end of the night.
Yeah, it's romance.
Problem that I have with all these songs that like become all of a sudden controversial in this age.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that was a typical, like, remember when it was written? Okay, it was in that rap hacky type of, everybody. And I'm not, look, it's not that I'm excusing this, from what it sounds like, but it's it's like when the guys used to call all the girls broads. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And what happens is it's a play. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were watching an actual couple singing this for real to one another, then I'd wave a red flag going, hey, is somebody going to do something about this? It's a play. They're playing off of one another.
It's a play. I mean, that's fair enough.
And the best part about listening to stuff that you don't like is there's a button called stop. If you don't like it, turn it off. But just because you don't like something doesn't mean like the whole world's not going to have to like it now. It's a
I understand where you're coming with that.
They're screwing around. Is there something in the drink? Yeah, it's called vodka. It's not like, roofie.
Because I heard it's Bill Cosby's favorite song. So
put it in pop in the thing. But honestly, you're just listening to a play. I mean, listen, they sing it in Elf.
That's true. That is true.
Thing where she's taking a shower, or he's sitting out. I can't remember the scene.
Which is also creepy. Let's just, she freaks out because she finds out he's in the bathroom with her. Mm-hmm.
Just so indulgent. It's so indulgent. I really can't stay. Everybody.
But it's a song, guys. It's just a play. I mean, if like I said, if we were watching something voyeuristically going down, going, hey man, this really sounds. Is she really gonna stay? Dude, it's a song. These two people are singing it. When it's over, they're going home.
Right.
Come on.
Tracy, how do you weigh in on this song? Uh-oh.
The way I would no, it's not worth it for me to get into this because I mean, if you hear it, you hear it. If you don't, you don't. And of course, we're all filtering our understandings through our own perceptions of life and privilege and these kinds of things. But not to get too heavy there, I wanted to bring up. Have you guys heard the consent version of this song? Which I was doing.
Is it like a 2019, 2020 version of this? Or
totally.
The Me Too movement kind of version.
And for me, when I heard it for the first time this week, it was revelatory in the way that like, if someone hears the consent version, then they'll understand why the other version feels so creepy to women. Like very clear. It's just very like every we can't listen or sing it right now. But like for example, that line, well, what's in this drink? Right? The answer is, it's just a LaCroix. In the consent version, and so you're like, oh right. There's actually like a normal way for this play to go down. And this way isn't that's been popularized and publicized for years and years and years actually isn't so normal for this day and age. Pete, to respond to your question before, even as a little kid listening to this song, there was a couple of Christmas songs that I was always like, this doesn't make me feel right. This was one of those songs, even as a young woman, that I was like, why don't I like this song?
second unliked song, and I know we want to get to all your other ones, but
Tim hasn't been able to say anything.
I know. Very indulgent, as you know.
Well, I think it has multiple angles, and I think I agree with Chris. You have to kind of put it into context of when it was written and who it was written by. If you look into like who it was written, it was actually, I think it was written by a woman and a man together. And they used to sing it together as like a fun, like, oh, this is silly. So if it was just,
if I was at a party and two people started singing that song together, I would head right for the fucking door. Here's
the interesting thing. So last weekend, I went to a shoot and I had to film people singing this, and I was like, I'm surprised that people are still picking this as a performance. Okay, I'll show you.
Performance art. Yeah. This is lovely. This is
interesting.
With
the masks and everything.
Oh.
That makes me feel uncomfortable. I can't even hear what they're singing.
Generally speaking, I don't understand the outfits.
Really?
Are they nurses?
Yeah.
So
singing those words to her,
I don't know what he's saying. Please get away. But the other one too is I saw Miss Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, which is
bingo, Pete.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, those are my two least favorites, and I hate the Jack 5 version of the most because Michael Jackson's so screaming. Shut up! Somebody tell the kid to shut up.
He's a kid. Hold on. When you guys heard that song, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, when you were a kid, what was your interpretation of it as a kid?
I thought Mommy was cheating on Daddy with Santa Claus.
Same.
Right.
Same.
Yeah, it's inappropriate.
But I mean, isn't that the trick that the songwriter,
the innuendo?
Like there's a lot of cartoons that are designed for children, but there's an inside joke for adults, and I think that's a perfect example of that.
Well, I just might say
gonna get more Christmas presents.
It left me with a weird feeling, I have to say.
Well, okay, let's go to Tracy. What are your two?
My two
least favorites Christmas.
Paul
McCartney's. No.
I don't actually hate Paul McCartney's song. Like I'll dance around the room to it when it comes on for sure.
I would love to see that. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We've hit on the two. I mean, maybe they're predictable. Baby, It's Cold Outside. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. The other one on my list is Santa Baby. And there's all sorts of levels and depths there that I could get into for sure. You know, the sluticization of women, you know, and what does an empowered woman look like these days? And yeah, we could get into that. But all of you nodded when I said Santa Baby, so
yeah, I think that's the other one. I can't stand listening to it, but yeah, all the other stuff too included. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you have as your two least favorite Christmas songs?
The 12 Days of Christmas. Oh my ever-living God, get done with it already.
And how did they come to that 12? You know what I mean? You know, like who the fuck?
Oh my God.
You know who annoys me? The person who adds up how much that costs every year.
I've never heard that.
Well, there's an article that they put out. This is what it costs. And I'm like, well, who comes up with the price for 11 maids of milk anyway? Like what?
What's your other one, Chris? I'm curious.
Okay. Well, I think it would have to be Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
It's also made my final cut.
Listen, I have a problem with anything that was made after like maybe 1980, you know, because then everybody just started putting vocal diarrhea to absolutely everything. It wasn't like, you know, all right, so I'm jumping the gun, but one of my favorite of all time is whenever I hear the opening thing, a tear comes to my eye when I hear Nat King Cole sing, you know, the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasted. I hear that opening, you know, that's it. It's Christmas to me. Okay. But when you hear him sing, Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. It's like that's smooth, that's Christmas. But when you hear like somebody like like Christina Aguilera come on and go, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, stop the vocal diarrhea. It's done. Okay. Yeah. Any type of vocal diarrhea, like the new version, we're gonna do a new version of Jingle Bells, like the dog barking to Jingle Bells. It's like that type of stuff drives me up a wall. Just keep it classic. I want my friggin' White Christmas by Bing. I want my Nat King Cole doing the Christmas song. I want Sleigh Ride by Johnny Mathis. I want what's the most wonderful time of the year? That's Andy Williams, damn it. And that guy if you listen to the swing part on that, the way the drummer plays, that's a hot swing. And by the way, if you've ever heard Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, sings Later We'll Have Some Fucking Pie.
All right.
We'll have some fucking pie. It's fucking. It sounds like fucking. I'm here the same way again.
I'm not going to hear it that way now. I can't wait. And that's on my favorites list, by the way. So that destroyed that fucking thing.
The last Christmas song that's worth it right there is Springsteen, Santa Claus Is Coming to Town Live. That's it. After that, stop making Christmas songs. You're killing me.
Mike, what do you have as your two?
I only have one Christmas song that I hate, but I hate it so much I hate it enough for two songs. And I hate it so much that I actually think less of anybody who likes this song. So if it's on your one or two favorites, I apologize. But it's the one that Chris was mentioned. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Yeah.
I've never found it funny. I've never found it entertaining, maybe because I loved my grandmothers.
Same.
I think it's a horrible, and I literally think less of you if you like it. So
I don't understand. I know it's Donald Trump's favorite. I'm just kidding.
That makes sense.
I'm going. I'm gonna smack you. Don't go there.
No, but it doesn't seem like what he would be. He likes his steaks well done. He likes a good big.
You know what? I'll bet if he has one Christmas song that he likes, it is probably Grandma Got Run Over.
I mean, I would be surprised if
it's probably Baby It's Cold Outside. Let's be honest.
Or the other option is
sorry.
Jiggity hee haw hee haw. That's the other option there.
That's my hated song. I only have one.
I feel like that's like a dual side of like a single. Those two songs, though, did they come out like the same time period? I think
they did. I feel like they came out right when Pete, you and I were listening to Z100 morning show, getting ready for school.
I remember that.
They were playing. We knew all of the words to "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer" and "Dominic the Donkey," and we don't know how we knew it. We just know them.
Oh, this stuff is
it's interesting too. Out here, people recently discovered Dominic the Donkey, so that might be an East Coast song for us. It
feels quite New Jersey.
I love it. Yeah, for the purposes of the fact that it feels so Jersey. You know what I mean? And sometimes I need to feel a little Jersey. All right, Tim, what about your hated songs?
All right, so mine are both situational, and I don't know if I would hate them as much as I do.
Mike sounds like Terry Collins. Sorry, baseball joke. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Very situational. So the first one's going to be Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You." And why? Because my freshman year of college, almost every 10 minutes, the women who lived above me put it on, and every time we hear "and I was like, oh no, it's happening again, and they would jump around. You could definitely hear that they were like singing into their like hairbrush kind of thing upstairs, and they must have played it like every 20 minutes.
Can't stand it.
On that note, on that song, well, I have a Google Home. Right, we all have one of these things now, whether it's an Amazon or whatever the fuck you which one you're rocking, or a Nest or whatever. And anytime that song comes on, I get really angry. Google, change it. It just makes me so angry.
So I'll tell you this: if we had done top 5, that would have made. That's one of my all-time.
See, that's the thing is like I think I can respect it.
I've seen the video often enough, so when I hear the song, I can picture the video. And she has never been more beautiful than in that video.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I can't argue with that. I think again,
to me, racist song.
But then it goes back to Chris's point earlier about the verbal diarrhea of listening to Mariah Carey feel like she needs to reinvent this fucking song. Leave it alone and just let it be what it is. If you want to write a new Christmas song,
well, wait, isn't that her original though?
I think you're right.
I guess it's not cover, is it?
I can shut you down there, but you didn't have a good. Sorry, Tim, I interrupted.
That's okay.
What else do you hate?
Tim, what's your other one?
I mean, my second one is not technically a song, but an album. And again, situationally, anyone who's ever worked in retail, Michael Bublé's Christmas album, because they put that on repeat.
We also
everybody had to have a Christmas album. Everybody had to have a Christmas album. Even like Motley Crue had a Christmas album. I mean, everybody had to have.
Well, it's an easy way to make cheap money because you don't have to, you don't have to pay really too much rent for it.
Something you should know, Tracy. Obviously, you know I'm a big Stones fan. Chris is a huge Billy Joel fan. We've done this. Mike is a huge Prince fan, and Tim is a huge Green Day fan. So this is the group you're dealing with.
And you are, Tracy?
You all get thumbs up except for Pete.
This was a big contention.
That's an old.
A better understanding why the two of you broke up.
Although I still owe Pete a performance of my favorite Stones song.
I'm waiting for
40th birthday. I haven't recorded and sent it.
Well, that better happen soon, Tracy.
Yeah, I owe you. Maybe it's your Christmas present this year.
This is my Christmas present: is hanging out with you.
I have a question for the group. I have a question for the group, and I'm glad I got this group. Same Old Lang Syne. Is it a Christmas song?
Oh, the Fogelberg song?
And Fogelberg.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I love that song.
It's a beautiful song.
That does something.
Although they do
in my heart.
significant amount of drinking and driving, because I think they put away a 6-pack and then he drives home. So that's some questionable behavior. But I love that song, and I do think it's a Christmas song.
All right, let's talk about the ones we like. Are we ready to move on to that? By the way, Tracy, we both picked the same songs that we didn't like. I Saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus, and the other one. So our Christmases in the alternate universe are fucking great. We're on Christmas time, we get along really great because we like all the same songs. So if you're wondering about that, there's that.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, always.
Thanks for pointing that out.
All right, let's start with Tim on songs that he loves for Christmas.
So we're going reverse style here. Okay, I think when we first were talking about this, it was like songs that like make us feel like it's Christmas time kind of thing. So I'm doing two of my number one. Like, okay, it's Christmas time is Charlie Brown Christmas. Specifically, I think Christmas Time Is Here. I think that always just gets me in that like smooth, groovy kind of like jazzy kind of vibe. Yeah. Chris, hit it. No. So you got something for us?
Oh, look at this. This is we always get some improv here. This is impromptu shit going on.
My guitar's right here.
Oh boy. There you go.
Oh, Chris.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happening.
Right? Get the feels.
That totally gave me the feels. I feel like
Chris.
Christmas time.
Tracy, that gave you the feels. That gave me the feels. Okay. There you
totally gave me the feels.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's something about that. I mean, I'm not huge. I would say I'm a huge jazz fan, but I feel like that album is just like such a cool vibe to it, and just has that Christmas spirit to it.
Very nice. Yeah. What else?
And then as far as second one, this at risk of losing all the respect from every single person in this room.
Uh-oh.
Because it was I grew up in the 90s, and when we woke up Christmas morning, we would listen to Kenny G. And so that gets me in Christmas spirit when I hear it. And it goes against everything that I think that I usually would listen to, but it gets me in the Christmas spirit.
Any specific song or like his whole Christmas album?
Whatever. I don't know what. I think it was literally, I don't think my mom took it out of the CD changer from like year to year. It was the one CD that was in like in the stereo system. It would just like put it back on. So whatever album must have came, probably some kind of greatest hits Christmas album.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Facebook didn't shut us down with that.
I told you I'd risk the decreased respect right there, but I'm throwing it out there.
The
We're getting
Facebook
real.
turn this fucking thing off. All right, Mike, what do you got on your two favorites?
So, and what did you do? 2 and 1 or 1 and 2? Does it matter?
What do you mean 2 and 1? Now we sound like
is Charlie Brown your favorite, and then Kenny G is your second?
Charlie Brown would definitely be number one. Yeah.
For sure. Charlie Brown is number one. And I can't believe that you even just said that. I want you to replay that over and over. Kenny G is my second favorite. I want you to, before you go to sleep tonight, just replay that in your brain.
All right. Well, we've already talked about the song more than enough, so I don't have to go into it. But my favorite Christmas song is the John Lennon song.
Jeez, fuck.
And by the way, this is not, if you want to know for a fact, I did a podcast. I do a weekly podcast with another DJ. 4 years ago, we did a podcast about our favorite Christmas songs, and we replay it every week, every year this week. And so I'm already on record. In that podcast, I said the John Lennon song is my favorite. I love the fact that he challenges the listener. To me, it's the greatest Christmas song ever.
Sorry to offend you so much the other day on Facebook. These COVID deniers and Pete with this McCartney thing. It must have been a bad Facebook day for you.
My second favorite is a song by Emerson, Lake and Palmer called "I Believe in Father Christmas." It's just, to me, it is a beautiful, beautiful Christmas song, and similar to Lennon, it's not just all about jingle bells and Santa Claus coming to town. There's a little bit of social, message in there.
I'm always waiting for the word distancing to come anytime I hear social.
Especially the very last line of the song. He says, they said there'll be peace on earth. Hallelujah, Noel, be it heaven or hell, the Christmas we get, we deserve. And that line just kicks me in the gut every single time I hear it. It's brought me to tears sometimes. It ignites me sometimes. It inspires me sometimes. The Christmas we get, we deserve. And so that's my second favorite. Those are my two.
I really thought Wham was going to be on there.
I think Last Christmas is a great, great Christmas song. It's not in my top two, but it's a great Christmas song.
Here's another controversial one for you before we go to Chris. I think Taylor Swift's version of Last Christmas is better than Wham's. So I
think you got a little obsessive.
I don't know that one. I'll have to listen to her version.
It's really good. Okay, Chris, going to excuse me, Tim, what was that? I missed this.
I must have said so. I don't know, but
all right. Chris, go ahead. What you got for your two favorites?
Okay. I'm gonna do 2-1. Okay.
2-1.
My second favorite is first of all, the thing about this type of music, depending upon where you are in your life, music elicits a feeling. I mean, it's what, believe it or not, we talk about clients and stuff, and Mike and I deal with clients, we're not jukeboxes. We're trying to elicit a response, and we're trying to set a tone and atmosphere of, so music does that with people. And Christmas music take you back to different times. Like, when I was a kid, man, it was all Rankin Bass stuff. Have a holly jolly Christmas. I'm Mr. Heat Miser. All that stuff would remind me.
Yeah.
As I'm an older man with a little bit more introspection, as soon as I hear this,
oh yeah.
As soon as I hear this,
yeah.
I'm done. I'm just a melted, just gone.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, because usually we do them when we're decorating the tree. I got the fire going, and we have everybody, my two kids, my wife, and we're just decorating the tree. And that just, the second one is Sleigh Ride, Johnny Mathis's version. I just almost feel like I'm on a sleigh, just getting dragged across with the horses and stuff like that. That's just, to me, like I said, these songs, I don't want to hear them done by anybody else. You know, Johnny Mathis, Nat King Cole, Bing Crosby, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett. That's Christmas music to me. You know, it's not Boys to Men doing "Oh Holy Night" with like, you know, "Oh Holy Night." You know, please just put across the song. You know,
Yeah.
One of the best things ever. Like, I guess the last thing that came out really nice like that was the pentatonic stuff. You know, me and this girl Lauren and I have been doing a lot of stuff together on video, like throughout this whole pandemic. You know, different songs, different duets, different stuff. And one of the last things that we did was Mary Did You Know together. We did all 5 voices, did the pentatonics thing. You know, when I dove into that, then I'm sitting here saying, okay, yeah, this I can, but again, it just kind of goes back to, I'm a purist when I guess it comes to the Christmas stuff. I don't want the pop versions. I just want that good old, like, you know, full band, you know, big band versions of stuff and stuff like that. But those two stick out to me the most.
All right. Tracy, I'm curious to see which two make your favorite list.
Well, I've really enjoyed listening to everybody talk about theirs. And Chris, you're reminding me of a fact, one of kind of like a bigger picture question I was going to pose if we had time.
We have time. Yeah.
Okay. Is the reality that all of these Christmas songs essentially are covers. You know, it's this, I have this thing about a really good cover song, you know, like it's not just like playing someone else's song in the way that that person, the original artist, played it, right? I'm sure you guys think about this as well. It's, can you take someone else's song and render it in a way that does something to it that improves or, you know, brings something else out of the song, or can you make it your own, you know? I feel like the basis of Christmas music is that these are songs we know, these are songs we love, these are songs that elicit emotional responses in ways that maybe we don't even understand or are able to connect with. And so, Chris, you're making the point that like the original jazz, you know, 50s, 60s renditions of some of these Christmas classics are super powerful. They're really powerful. I love pentatonics.
We don't dumb down the arrangement.
Right. They like enhance the arrangement. They're like, let's use our voices and fucking bring it, you know?
Right.
And so transitioning into an arrangement of one of my favorite Christmas
Boys
songs.
to Men. No.
Exactly.
That whole build up for Boys to Men would have been incredible. Yep.
It would have been incredible as a way, to tell Chris that Boys to Men is still okay. But
if you want to say Kenny G too, don't worry, it's okay. You can also say Kenny G.
It's coming. What are you gonna, guys, little drummer boy.
What?
You know, this is the song. I knew I was waiting for the person who doesn't like this song.
Is there a specific version?
The
hate
Bing
this
Crosby
song.
David Bowie one?
Yes, I say yes to David Bowie. All things David Bowie.
Awesome. I like that version. The story.
The point with
you should write about it.
The little drummer boy. Like, let's put yourself in the little drummer boy's shoes, right? He's this poor kid. It brings me to tears, actually, this song. Every year it brings me to tears when I listen to the song. He's this like destitute, poor kid who has nothing to offer this person who is like this brilliant expression of humanhood in the world, right? And he's approaching this person. Other people are bringing this child like the most precious, valuable things that money can buy, right? And he's got nothing except for the fact that he's a fucking awesome drummer. Or not. Like maybe he's just playing a little thing, but it's the thing that he knows. And from his heart, he's doing the best that he can to make this offering of his skill to this important person in the world. It breaks me the fuck down every single time. When
I would just Google next.
Right. Mary nodded, right? He's like, I played my best for him. And then the next refrain comes and it's Mary nodded. Like in acknowledgement of the art that this kid is presenting to her baby. Oh my God.
God, I gotta
I'm
read.
sweating.
Yeah.
Like every single time. And then on top of that, the Pentatonics version, the Pentatonics rendition arrangement of that song is a revelation. Yeah. So that's my favorite Christmas song. We're gonna go traditional with the other favorites. Silent Night also rips me apart. The image of my image of that as a kid, and it still happens at I'm no longer connected with the Christian religion, actually. That's a story for another time. But as a kid, and still when I go to church with my family on Christmas, we still turn all the lights off in our little Episcopal church in Paramus, New Jersey, and light candles and sing the 3 verses of Silent Night in harmony. And it is so powerful, so powerful. It adds this piece of reflection and quiet and solace into what is a very busy time of the year. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just really great choices. Guys, do you have any comments on anything that Tracy just said, Mike?
Bring it.
I heard somebody say recently, if there's a genre of music that you don't love, it's because you've never been in a room where they love that music. And I thought of that when Tracy was talking about Little Drummer Boy, because that to me it's a song that I kind of like, but I don't love. But your description of it, Tracy, made me want to now, as soon as I get off of this podcast, go listen to it in that new light. And I appreciate you giving me that look into that song.
All right, now you guys can see this is what it was like in high school with her.
This is why you fell in love, Peter.
You know, and this was what it was. The passion about we would be just a little drummer boy. Oh my God.
You and your Sound of Music.
Hi, was a lonely goat herd, and then it was all over.
Yeah, that's it. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to pick, what about 2,000 Miles by the Pretenders?
You know, that one came up, Pete. That one came up on my list the other day, and I skipped it. Because I was like, what are they doing? Are they playing off of I Would Walk 500
Peter,
miles?
I've never heard this song before.
You've never heard this song before.
2,000 Miles by the Pretenders.
Yes, I have not made. I'm not making that up. No,
I don't think I know it.
Yes, well, I know it from Beverly Hills 90210. Sorry to throw.
Oh, here comes the plug.
No,
that makes sense. Is there another commercial coming?
No. But it's
Go get the pizza. That just.
You do know the song, and you can play it. Go ahead, Mike. Are you playing it on Spotify? Is that what's about to happen?
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's in a big scene in when Steve goes to find his birth parents. I love this Christmas song. Does nobody know the song 2000?
Can you sing like a little verse of it or like a chorus or?
Oh, that Mike got it.
Oh, I have heard this.
Takes forever.
I've heard this one.
No, this is new to me.
I mean, now that I hear it, I have heard it before, but it's never made an impression on me.
All right, well, give it a deeper listen.
No, you need to sell it the way Tracy just.
Thank you, Mike.
I cannot.
Remind me of
Problem. I cannot do that. Right. This is.
All right. Well, then I'm not going back and listening to that song.
Now, is your love of it based upon its use now? Do you associate it with that vibe, and does that give you the vibes? Does that give
I think it does definitely. I think it definitely does play into that, the love of that scene and the love of Christmas time and the love of the character going to search for his birth parents and all that. Yes, absolutely, and for sure. And it's been playing a lot here lately too. So I don't know. There's just something very, very special about that Christmas song. The other one that I would have picked, and that's not my favorite, but the other one that I was going to mention was Chuck Berry's Run Run Rudolph, right? Do we all love that one?
Yeah, it's a fun rock and roll. Yeah, rockabilly type of sure.
Was that in Home Alone? Or am I making that? Yeah, okay.
I think, and it's funny that you say that, Tim, but I think I do, and this might sound crazy because especially if I just followed Tracy with these beautiful things, but I think most of the Christmas music that I like comes from watching Christmas movies as a kid. So Home Alone definitely had a score of Chuck Berry and all of those kinds of classics. And I think I draw myself to those classics as well because of the movies that I grew up watching. And they're all in.
Do we want to go quick around the horn? Favorite Christmas movie?
I like it.
Sure, let's do it.
Quick. Go ahead, Peter.
No, I would say Scrooged with Bill Murray. Yeah.
Tracy?
This is another reason why that's our alternate universe, Pete. we would watch that movie on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
That's not my favorite though. It's hard to pick a favorite.
My first impact was
White Christmas. Snow, snow, snow. And I have to do a more contemporary one. There was one other one that was at the tip of my tongue. Oh, It's a Wonderful Life. And Elf.
Sure, and Elf. Home Alone 2. Or Home Alone, not Home Alone 2. Home Alone.
Also.
Right, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Chris.
Well, it's not so much a movie, but man, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Oh, how did I forget it? How did I forget about that one? Thank you, Chris.
They don't make specials like that.
No.
And they are just I just don't know if you haven't seen it, you have to see it at least once in your life. And they put there's a blooper reel from it.
Oh, it's hysterical.
Which is one of the most hysterical things you'll ever see because they're trying to get the Muppets to do different things.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Jug Band Christmas. The other one that I saw that I liked was a movie called All I Want. And it's about two kids who are trying to get their parents back together for Christmas.
Is it Lifetime? Is it a Hallmark?
Hallmark.
No, it wasn't a Hallmark movie because they were pretty much all scripted the same. This was actually a theatrical release, and it had a really great song by Stephen Bishop called "All I Want." But that was a really good movie. But when it comes to those specials, I mean, you take a couple of versions of A Christmas Carol that were pretty good. Scrooge is a take on it. But like when I start thinking about that, the things that reminded me of Christmas the most growing up, besides all the Rankin Bass stuff, was Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Yeah.
An old comedian named Rich Little did A Christmas Carol.
And
he had W.C. Fields be Scrooge. It's something. It's something to watch. Tiny Tim was Truman Capote. Stand up, Tiny Tim. He's like, but I am standing. He does voices for every character. So that I remember HBO. We played the hell out of that growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Mike. Also Christmas Vacation, by the way. I love that.
Gosh, yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Mike. What do you got?
Hands down, It's a Wonderful Life. I watch that movie every year at Christmas time. It always blows my mind that if George Bailey hadn't lived, it snowed that night. That's always like, I don't get that butterfly effect. I don't know, but that movie that blows my mind. That movie, I love that. That at the very end when he says, "No man will be poor without friends," or every man, whatever the line is. It's just, I love that. Love it.
Tim.
I actually had watched It's a Wonderful Life last night. First time I watched it in color. Actually interesting. But my two favorites would be Rudolph, and my number one would be The Snowman. Have you seen The Snowman?
The musical one?
Yeah, it's basically like there's no dialogue. Yep. It's just music, and it's like this really interesting sketchy kind of animation. And it's kind of like a darkness to it, but it's beautiful.
You're talking about the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yes.
It's funny. I just watched that the other night, and I don't think that's aged well. The father is a scumbag. Why would you hide your son's unique talent?
Brown on his nose.
if I was Rudolph, when Santa finally fuck you. I wasn't good enough to play in your reindeer games, but now you want to leave yourself.
Yeah, it's a pretty punk rock movie.
Not age well for me.
Well, this has been great, guys. I think we really rocked this conversation. Is there any other songs that we want to talk about that we didn't talk about that deserve an honorable mention? We talked about Wham, right? We mentioned that. Where is everybody on I talked about where is everybody on the Wham?
No,
I'm good.
I'm not against it.
We should go through a list. Somebody get a list.
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah.
Fairy Tale in New York by the Pogues.
Ooh.
If you had done top 3, that would have been on it. It is a great. I love the fact that it's an answer song. Like he tells his side of the story, and then she tells her side of the story. I love that. The core, and I'm always. I always prefer songs about I grew up in New York City, so I'm anything about New York City I prefer. I just think that's a great Christmas song.
Love that. Tim, any honorable mentions? He's pissed. He was planning on this.
I don't know if I've got a good one here. I posted in the chat privately. I put the a punk version, or I guess a hardcore version of everyone's favorite John Lennon song over there. So if you want to get it ruined for yourself, make sure you take that a good listen.
Definitely not to. Chris, do you have an honorable mention?
Actually, for all of my bitching and moaning about current people doing things, I love. There's a piano vocal. There's a song called "River," and it's by. There's been several versions of it, but this one by Ben Platt has stuck out with me. So if you get a chance to listen to that, it's just piano and his vocal is so moving.
Ben Platt is the kid from Broadway?
Yes, Ben Platt.
My wife and I saw him in, God, I forgot what show he was in, but so freaking passionate, singing. And, oh my God.
That River song.
Yeah.
It's coming on Christmas. He just does such an amazing, moving version of it that I just was recently turned on to.
Great stuff, guys. Anything else? We want to shout out any other songs or artists? Tracy, I feel like you got one.
Yeah, I got one, and it's I was going to pose another question.
Great.
If we had needed one, but we kind of answered it.
You do need it. Go ahead.
The question was really like Christmas songs that aren't really Christmas songs, like Christmas songs we think about at Christmas time, but they're not really Christmas songs. And so the one I was going to add is exactly the one that Chris just mentioned, which bears nailing down that's an original by Joni Mitchell. And
Same Old Lang Syne?
Coming on Christmas. They're coming on.
Heart did a cover too.
Yeah, and I hate all the covers, I have to say. There is nobody who has a voice like Joni Mitchell. And
tell me what you think.
Okay, what's his name?
Ben Platt.
Ben Platt. That's another one that was introduced to me in a young, maybe late teens. I came across the album Blue, and my mind was blown from my, Primus, They Might Be Giants kind of high school era. And then James Taylor and Joni Mitchell happened for me. And I was like, what's going on? And as a vocalist, as a musician, training in those, I was like, why did I not know these things before? Now I know things I didn't know before. And that The River was one of those songs for me that just got into my gut and ripped it apart. And so whenever I hear someone else sing it, I'm like, nope.
See, this brings an interesting point. This brings an interesting point, and it's maybe a question for another session. But no, Tracy, you were just saying you heard Joni Mitchell do it for the first time, and it moved you. Okay.
Yeah.
In a way, it kind of ruined it for you for anybody else to do.
100%. Yeah.
Are there songs out there that you've heard and it's hit you in such a way that if you're somebody, you heard somebody else did their version of it, and then you've tuned into it and you're like, for the love of God, why did you even try that?
Right.
The original has put you in such a place and has moved you to such a way that, one of my favorite Billy Joel songs of all time is Just the Way You Are. I think it's an amazing song and an amazing record. And then I hear other people do their take on it, and I'm like, just stop. It doesn't, I haven't heard something that's like, wow, that's a good spin. Even if that's a good spin, maybe it's just because you've just become so connected to it.
I feel that way about At Last by Etta James. I don't know why any other artist has ever attempted to do that song.
With you on that,
Etta James nailed it. She did the quintessential version. Beyonce, Celine Dion, great singers. They haven't been able to match her version. So just stop trying.
That's like somebody doing Aretha Franklin's Respect.
Right.
Yeah.
Can anybody hear anybody else but her do that? I can't. Just an iconic song.
How about you, Tim? Do you have anything like that?
Great
As far as a
example.
Christmas song?
No, we're talking about any song now. We've moved off of the Christmas.
Just any song. I was just thinking like of songs that like I know have been covered 1,000 times and like you can't. But to spin it on the head, have you gone through it where you've heard it so many bad versions, all of a sudden you hear a good version, you're like, ooh. Like if you're able to make a song fresh again after it's been ruined, that's even more impressive.
Okay,
I agree.
I was going to say, back to the whole Lennon-McCartney thing, nobody could ever do Imagine.
No.
Nobody,
not even celebrities who are helping us. And
because it's such a special moment in time, and listening to that, and have seen all the footage that I just saw a couple years ago on Netflix of him making that song and diving deeper into that song and what it was like for him. I cannot imagine. There you go. Copying off a version of that and trying to make it their own. Do not do that. It's not ever going to be yours. It is his. So don't even bother to try to do that. And I don't know that anybody has. I'm sure some asshole somewhere has tried to cover it. And it's
there was some version. Do you guys remember the movie I Am Sam? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
And they did this whole beautiful soundtrack with all these pop musicians or like really great musicians covering Beatles songs.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a cover of Imagine on that, but maybe not. Maybe not.
It might be. I just feel like that original
But I
version.
agree with you, Pete. I agree.
Oh, there we go. Wow.
Yeah.
I had a lot. And on that note, no. No, this has been a lot of fun, guys. I'm so happy that you decided to join us, Tracy. I thought you brought so much to this conversation, as you always have. And just I want to say I'm so grateful I'm always about gratitude these days. So I'm just so thankful for you guys doing this through the pandemic when we did this, and for your time and for talking about music, because I certainly love doing that. And I'm with both of you, Chris and Mike, in what's going on at this time of year. I'm just so touched by it, and I think about you guys a lot. I don't really think about Tim all that much.
thanks.
I'm just kidding. No, Tim has been I'm so grateful for you, man, because of all the gigs he's helped me out with this year in this crazy pandemic time, and he's just been such a lifesaver and just a good dude always to hang out with.
Can I tell you, getting to know you now, you're the guy I think of every time I hear a Green Day song.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear Billy Joel, I think of Chris. I hear Rolling Stones, I think of Peter. When I hear a Green Day song, I think of you now.
And when I think of Prince, I think of you. It's literally
Same.
Yeah.
And Billy Joel,
Yeah.
Chris, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Tracy, this has been awesome. And I'm so grateful for you for spending your time with me here and in high school. But in a lot of ways, Tracy was the first person to ever believe in me.
I thought we were going to have a revelation there for a second.
In life, and it's always meant a lot to me. And I just thank you so much for doing this little podcast. So thanks, guys. I hope you all have a great Christmas. I'm sure I'll talk to you guys in between that time. So
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
You too.
All right.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.